Hello and welcome, fellow Marvel fans, to the Snark Industries podcast. I'm John.
And I'm Remy.
And we invite you to join us as we work our way through every Marvel TV show, movie, and crossover. Meaning if there's a Marvel character on screen, it's fair game. All categorized in the temporal order of their setting. By the time we're done, we'll have built a complete start-to-finish timeline of the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. To accomplish this goal and to have a bit of fun along the way, each episode will be split into two parts, the Watch Party and the Deep Dive. If you're hearing this, you found one of our deep dives. This is where we slow things down and take a more pragmatic, in-depth look at a piece of Marvel media. We'll walk through the full plot, explore connections to the wider MCU and Marvel Comics, highlight Easter eggs, unpack lore, and of course, give you our own personal thoughts and feelings. Although this episode stands on its own, it is designed to complement the Watch Party. So, if you haven't watched along with us yet, we highly recommend starting there first and coming back here for the full breakdown. Most importantly, we want to thank each and every one of you for joining us on this incredible journey. We're not affiliated with Marvel in any way, shape, or form. We're just fans who are passionate about these stories and these characters and wish to share them with everyone in a new and exciting way. So, sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of Snark Industries.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Snark Industries Deep Dive. We just got finished watching Spider-Noir, Episode 3, Double Cross. John, what was that about?
So, continuing on from episode 2, Janet's back to work without any explanation whatsoever and is in the office with Ben at the beginning talking with Robbie as they're trying to figure out sort of what's going on. They are able to piece together all the bits and bobs that we did from the last episode on our own, expert detectives that we are, that this third giant man that confronted Robbie in the slums is also part of this platoon picture with the other two, with Addison and with Marco. So they kind of get that together and assume that he is somehow related. Robbie goes looking for him. Meanwhile, Silvermane comes in himself to Riley's office with a couple of goons and has a job for him. Tells his goons to apologize to Janet, and they never show if they do or not, which is another strange Janet moment. Janet just leaves a lot of questions, not a lot of answers. Maybe that's supposed to be part of her character. I don't know. But
she's the linchpin of all of them.
Yeah, correct. Silvermane and Riley go back into his office, have a talk. Silvermane wants Riley to figure out who this rat is that has A, hired Addison to burn down his house, and B, who has tipped off the cops about this raid that happened assumed not the night before. Some time must have passed for all of these things to have happened, but from the last episode at the very least. So they begin working both ends at once, going towards the same kind of goal. Ben goes and tries to pretend to be some sort of federal officer of some kind with a even worse than normal voice.
His accent gets worse with every character he does.
Yeah, that one was just really something to behold. And he goes and questions the cops that were part of that raid, that were injured in the raid, and ultimately, going through them all, figures out that the order came directly from the mayor himself. Mm-hmm. And so Ben sort of in his own head puts together from that point the connections and everything else that the mayor and the connection that he would bring that would have all this sort of line up would be Kat. Mm-hmm. But he doesn't want to say it just yet because also she hired him to do stuff as well. And finding Marco, which he also still hasn't done. Then we cut over to Robbie, who is back in the slums trying to find this giant man again from the picture. And as he's asking around, the cops do a big raid on this entire area and start beating people up. And this giant man pops out, and we find out here finally that this is Lonnie, a.k.a. Tombstone.
Yeah.
Who pops out and starts defending everyone else around. And we see he sort of roaring this like scaly, hardened skin. And is definitely, throwing some punches around, doing a lot of stuff. And then lo and behold, here comes Flint outside of one of the little hovels as well. And so we have Tombstone and Sandman sort of standing shoulder to shoulder, defending these people of the slum against these cops that are just beating everyone up for no reason. Not really sure what's going on there, but just cops.
Yeah, I was kind of curious about that.
Cops doing bad cop stuff, I guess. Maybe a trope, maybe something specific. Not really clear, but they're out there doing it. In the meantime, Robbie being the excellent reporter he is, begins taking a lot of pictures of all of this stuff that is happening. So we have that kind of running on in the background as Ben goes to see Silvermane at his place, kind of tells him he knows who it is, kind of hints at it, but he's got to find proof. He then gums up the door to Silvermane's balcony.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
And he's got a very specific reason, because he's also, as he's doing all this investigation, went and saw Addison's widow himself, who confirmed to him that it was Kat in a manner of speaking, but she would go tell Silvermane herself because she thought it could get her some more money. Obviously, we have her living that treat yourself life still, and says that if
lobster in clothes.
That's right. And says that if Ben can get her $1,000, which we decided was infinity dollars in today's money.
Yeah.
That she would take her information and just simply walk away. And of course, as we've seen in the episodes thus far, Ben is broke and does not have $1,000 to give her. But lucky for him, he's got this gummed up door that's part of this plan. So he goes in, spider costume and all, in the middle of the night to Silvermane's home. By going into this gummed up door, we see a little stealth mission. We get to see a kind of a cool, although very impractical and not at all how things would work, lights in his eyes, which does make for some cool, like I said, some aesthetically pleasing scenes. But in reality, putting flashlights in your eyes means you just would be blind. So we do get to see him go in there, and he steals $1,000 out of Silvermane's safe and gets away unnoticed to go back and pay off Addison's widow so that she will simply walk away from all of it. As he does so, we see Winston down in the car below, who has been tailing him, see him leave the hotel where she's staying and sees her packing up her suitcases. He puts two and two together and goes up to get her to get the information. Meanwhile, Ben gets an invitation from the mayor himself to go and talk about all these things that happened. And even though
invitation.
It's a forced invitation.
The muscle comes and picks him up.
The mayor's muscle, which is a whole different can of worms to open.
Yeah, right.
But
oh man,
brings him in and basically tells him, like, what's going on? The spider's here. You used to always get these great pictures of the spider. What's going on with that? And Silvermane clearly, and Ben confronts him directly and says, so didn't Silvermane fund your first campaign? But clearly the mayor has had a change of heart or a change of who's lining his pockets and is wanting to go after this guy. So as that's happening, we also have Robbie going back to, my brain stopped working for a second. What's it called? What's the newspaper?
The Daily Bugle.
The Daily Bugle. Yes. Wow. I want to say Daily Planet. That's a whole different person. The Daily Bugle. Robbie goes back there with these pictures that he's developed from this scene in the hovel or in the slums with Sandman and Tombstone and all the cops and everything else, and kind of wants to get his old job back. Kind of wants to write this story, and doesn't get the job back, but is given permission to get the story put together and everything else. But we see the next day comes around and the story is told in an entirely different way. They used his pictures, they used his name, but they changed the story to where these two monsters were attacking people and the brave people of New York's police department saved them, which is obviously not what happened. We know that. So he's kind of going on about that. Meanwhile, the stage is set for all of this stuff to happen. And we see Kat, who has just left her place to leave the city because she had to run in as Sandman was hiding in her apartment in the dark until she got home. They had an exchange. They obviously are lovers of some kind. And then he starts to sand out and then punches a hole in her wall and just leaves. It's a very rushed, abrupt scene for all that play out where he just assumes that she won't want him like that. But then she never gives any indication that that's true. And there's no resolution to that whatsoever, at least at this point. He just simply leaves. So we have her going to the train station to get out of here. We have Ben, who has paid off the widow. We have Winston, who has grabbed the widow. Then Ben goes to grab Kat from the train station. And in doing so, Winston comes there and grabs both of them to turn them both into Silvermane. Okay.
So many moving pieces.
That is a lot of, there was a lot of threads kind of coming together at once. And honestly is a really good, making for a really good mystery story, which is kind of in the vein of what Spider-Noir is all about. So I'm here for that energy.
Sure.
So they show up and they're all there. The Widow and Cat and Ben all being sort of accused by Winston to Silvermane, who has already dug a grave in the ground, ready to put somebody in it. While he's out there doing that himself,
I doubt he dug it.
But but you know what I mean.
His two dumb ones.
He's got goons for that sort of thing. But it's his order that's doing it. Is what I'm getting at. So,
yeah, for sure.
So then we kind of have all this unfolding. Winston has the smoking gun. He's got the Widow who says it's Cat. He's got Cat and Ben together at the train station, and more importantly, he's got the $1,000 in the Widow's possession that he can show was paid.
Oh, he was so proud of himself.
He was so proud. But what he didn't plan on, and what we didn't see until this moment, is that kind of a common thread that has been running through all of this is that Silvermane marks his bills.
Yeah.
And he does that to keep tabs on people on his payroll, people that work for him. Very intelligent, obviously. And Silvermane has been built up to being this sort of crime boss. So it's good to see that sort of being played into. But we didn't know is when Ben stole the $1,000, he marked it to be Winston's money. And he could do that because he got $1 from Winston that time, who was making fun of him effectively for being so bent on money being the sort of motivator for his decision making. And so now it appears by all reason, as Silvermane didn't realize that his safe had been robbed, that the money in fact came from Winston, and he immediately just shoots him into the grave.
Yeah.
He then turns to Ben, and we have this big climactic sort of ending here. He then turns to Ben and says, "How good are you with a shovel? Because we're going to need another grave." And you see him pull the trigger, but it's not clear who he pulls it on. So not only is Winston dead, but somebody else is or at least injured. Not sure.
Yeah.
We just saw a fired shot. We don't know what's coming next. Man. I'm still kind of jittery about it. It's like it's just to watch that, and move right into this of like, all right, who was it? And I'm not, and I'm being a good host here and not looking ahead as all these episodes are out. So I could definitely go find out, but I haven't done it because I want to see it in real time with all of you fine people. And of course with you, Ribby, so we can figure this out together. And, but yeah, man, I honestly, I can't imagine who it could be, but anyway, we'll talk a little bit more about that when we get to the thoughts and feelings and everything, I think. Sure. But, just real briefly, kind of going through all the important bits that we do here on our deep dive. MCU tie-ins, same story. It's its own universe. Outside of the characters themselves, not really a whole lot of tie-ins. Not any tie-ins at all. I would say not even really a whole lot, but not any at all, other than just seeing sort of somewhat familiar faces in terms of character names. And it's clear even then, a lot of them have been, Tombstone being introduced here and get to see his power set isn't really what Tombstone's power set is. Very different. Yeah. It's almost like he's grown this like carapace, almost like a beetle or something. Over his skin, which is a very strange thing, but that's what they decided to do, which is fine. Like I said, because this is standalone, and it's a blessing and a curse that it's a standalone. It's a blessing in that none of this stuff really matters, so they can kind of do what they want, but it's also a curse in that none of it ties in, which is kind of half of the reason why we're here making a timeline.
Exactly.
Speaking of which, and I feel like it's going to be kind of a similar MO here, but talk to us about any kind of comic book stuff for this episode.
With the introduction of Lonnie in this one, we did get at least a little bit more comic history. We also got the Bugle. Officially, we got to be in the Bugle, which is cool. No Jameson, which is odd because he was a large part of the Spider-Noir 2009 series. I thought it was really kind of amusing that Robbie is essentially begging for his job at the Bugle when in the comics he ultimately runs the Bugle. He ultimately takes it over. So it's kind of funny to see him at the very, below the bottom rung of the Bugle. So
Yeah.
That's kind of a fun juxtaposition that they've put him in. As far as Easter eggs and things that we noticed, there wasn't a whole lot, although I did in the watch party notice that Kat's door was 337, which I did look up, and it is in fact a Sinister Six comic. So kind of fun that in the introduction of Lonnie, and we've got Sandman, and we've got, Addison was there, and I feel like probably not the last one we'll see, because we do see someone very electric. I can only assume Electro in the intro in the credits. So I assume that we're kind of, if not building the entire Sinister Six, at least some of it, which is kind of cool. So that 337, I don't think was accidental.
Yeah, that's a good Easter egg spot. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, can't be that that number came to them randomly.
No, that feels very, very intentional. And I wonder now if I haven't seen it, just didn't notice it in the first 2 episodes, and just this is the one I saw it in, because if it's been there the entire time, that's been giving us a clue as to what we're building toward, perhaps.
Very true. Very true.
But yeah, as far as comic tie-ins and Easter eggs, that's pretty close to all I saw. I mean, like you mentioned, Tombstone's abilities were very different. And to that effect, Sandman's abilities are pretty different as well. He hasn't done much beyond just turn into human,
getting sandy and punching stuff. Yeah.
Right. So he's stronger and hard to, I'm sure he's bulletproof, or not bulletproof, but bullets probably go right through him. But we haven't really seen him do anything that your typical Sandman would. So I'm curious to see if we're actually going to see some of that, which would be really neat.
No giant sandstorm with a green and white stripey shirt on. That's what I'm waiting for.
Oh, I want that so badly. I need that in my life. So episode 3, what'd you think?
So honestly, this show continues to impress me. Now, I will say I have a real moral problem with them just casually putting Janet back into her position without
that irritated
it.
me so bad.
After they had her big walkout scene last episode where she says, "I'm leaving and I'm not coming back." And then just for her to be, literally the very first scene of this episode, she's just not only there, but just working.
Casually
she's just there doing her job. They don't mention it at all the entire episode.
No, he's fixing her desk. It's wild.
Yeah. It's just like they just ignored that scene ever happened. So that is a continuity error, in my opinion, that is pretty egregious.
Yeah.
Sure. It's at the end of the day, it doesn't really, dent the actual story that they're building, but still, Janet's obviously one of the major characters that they've put into it. Yeah. One line could have fixed it. Yeah.
A single throwaway line. Easy.
Yeah. Just something just to where it's not as if that never happened. But anyway, outside of that one, in my opinion, glaring issue, I really, really like this episode. It's been my favorite of the 3 so far that we've done.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Sort of seeing the build up, sort of having a cool powered fight scene, in the slums here, I thought was really neat. And more importantly than all that, the mystery that they are building to sort of point all these things together. And like all these threads that we talked about as I was going through the synopsis and everything too, like seeing all that kind of come together at the end. And then we got, he shot somebody. Who did he shoot? It's one of those things. It's just, man.
That was a really well paid off cliffhanger.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah. It's really, I am fully invested at this point. I really like this episode a lot. I said it did have one major issue, but all the other stuff in it, I think, in my opinion, for me, makes up for the difference.
Yeah.
In terms of storytelling and everything else. Now, I still can't get over Nick Cage and his accents and the way he eats food in the show. But that's just a him thing.
It's constant.
Yeah. He ate a peanut with a shell on it, in this episode, and peeled a hot dog in the last one. I just can't. I can't with this man.
I can't with this man.
I guess, yeah. But as in terms of storyline, in terms of what the show was doing, really, really well done. I'm asking myself questions because and these people may not, but they're going to now. I'm a sucker for mystery. I love mystery and crime stuff, in terms of storytelling and things like that. So seeing that happen here, and I really I'm not sure who he shot, right. A lot of times I pride myself on figuring these things out in real time when it's these mystery type stories, but man, I really don't know. but I have good arguments in my head for everybody.
I know, right?
He shot himself. That's maybe I don't know. So, yeah, no, it's solid. I can't wait to continue going here. No major complaints minus the major complaints that I've already made.
The Janet. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. How about yourself?
I absolutely agree. The Janet thing was like, it was a little wild to just kind of ignore that large scene, but c'est la vie, here we are. All that being said, I like the way they're building up Kat. I want to see her become more than just the lounge singer. I want to see her become, the Felicia Harding we know.
Absolutely. Agreed.
But we're only 3 episodes in, so we could very well see that in the future. And who knows, she could be part of the Sinister Six that they're kind of cobbling together here. But yeah, it's fun to see. If you've been listening through, that I like otherworld stories and things that don't have any stakes, things that the familiar just with a twist. So this is an absolute blast for me. I love it. I'm not as much of a noir or detective crime type as John, but this is really scratching an itch that I didn't know I had. I'm having so much fun with it.
I think it's one of those good things that like we're both hyped about this for different reasons. Like for you, it's the story with no real stakes. It's a standalone. It's this,
it's just looking at a story and characters I know through a different lens. That's what I love about the what ifs and the other worlds.
You're getting that itch scratch for this, and for me, I don't care about those type of things. I want it to have stakes, but this is just such a good like mystery, that I'm just like, yes, give me more. And so we're both kind of hyped up for different reasons. But hey, however we get there, if it's good, it's good.
I'll take it. I'm having a ton of fun with it. I'm 3 episodes in. We're coming up on the halfway point next episode, and I'm sold. Yeah, I'm ready to see where this.
Let's go. I'm ready to see where this takes us for sure. For sure.
Well, speaking of, we will see you next episode, folks. We cannot wait to see it. I'm so intrigued.
Absolutely.
Catch you then. Thank you for joining us in this episode of the Snark Industries podcast. To join the conversation and further explore the Marvel Cinematic Universe with us, head on over to snarkindustries.pod.com. The link will be in the show notes. But with that, we will see you in the next adventure.